4 variant here on January 4th. It's myself here live in the UMG studio known as Landon Lano Sanders, joined alongside by a familiar voice, a nice one to have for us tonight. It is Jen, a.k.a. Lemon Kiwi. Jen, how are you doing?
Jen from home.
From Jen
Yay.
from home. How you doing, Jen?
I'm doing great, and how are you doing? You got two great teams here, HavoK versus Zodiac to start, and we are currently on London docks here for the hard point of this best of 3.
Indeed we are. Keep in mind, these are best of 3, so 2 to win. And, of course, the rotation, considering Hardpoint, Search and Destroy, and CTF, locking things down here on London Docks for map 1. S&D will be on St. Marie de Mont, and if we do head to map number 3, it will be on Flat Tower first to capture the flag. So, first hill underway. Of course, scrappy time going back and forth, which is to be expected when it comes down to this middle here on Statue, Jen.
And my monitor turned up, but
no.
yes, London Docks, great map to start off. And looking at these rosters here, there's a couple familiar faces, kind of the old players here of E6, of Kade and MRuiz and Holler, familiar Canadian here on HavoK. I don't really know who Bxldyyy is, and you probably know him, familiar with these tournaments, but Zodiac as well, having a couple familiar faces, mainly I think I recognize Baker from some previous tournaments.
Yeah, I believe both of these teams have kind of been, for the most part, fairly consistent throughout a lot of World War II up until this point, at least for the guys on HavoK. Bxldyyy, recent addition. Of course, a lot of the E6 guys being in part of this team, especially being known of MRuiz and Kade. Holler, bit on E6 in the past, but for the most part, been more of a later choice. But Bxldyyy, more of a Search and Destroy player for those who have kind of been known in the OLT community, especially, like I said, in Search and Destroy game modes. He's recently picked up toward this group and obviously started off very well. Started 6-0, and now sitting at 7-1, locking down the hard point as he may, and doing a lot of work with that submachine gun, which is to be expected on London Docks. Of course, a very sub-heavy map, much like Search and Destroy and Hardpoint. Both play incredibly quick, but Main Street is starting to come to a close, and we're seeing a very dominant performance right now, 74 to just 12 seconds. It is going to be the guys on Zodiac needing to make that rotation. You see Baker here early on finding at least one of the earlier frags on the Bxldyyy, and that's the one that you need to find. Of course, the guy who's going to be having the sub in your face, picks off one through the wall, and now the third one sitting in his way. Can Baker single-handedly hold down the backside of this hard point and guarantee his team some spawns? Doesn't spawn off to his right, and unfortunately he drops. So just like that, as Docks Warehouse starts to become more of a factor, is the boys in Zodiac who currently lock down this hill control, but for how much longer is the question?
Unfortunately, I did jump out of the lobby by accident, unplugging my PlayStation like a great caster that I am, so I'll let you take things off, and then I will join you back onto the S&D.
No worries, Jen. Apologies for that. Of course, online, Call of Duty, you know, you obviously take your pick. It's not the easiest thing to obviously translate. But regardless, indeed, it is 15 seconds left inside of Docks, and it looks like the boys from Zodiac have made a decent-sized comeback. They were down quite a bit of points, and we do talk about that play. Coming in from Baker, single-handedly locks down those spawns. The backside guarantees his time, that rotation. But speaking of such, now making our way inside of barrel building. Uses it correctly as far as the streaks are considered from Bxldyyy. 9-4 for this man. Kade at 9-6. Doing a lot of damage, and you see MRuiz watching that entry coming in from Beer Stairs. And they're doing the work pretty well. Player number 4 trying to challenge this one, but you see Bxldyyy constantly being involved in that kill feed. This is a guy that I'm very curious to see his performance when it comes down to CW Nola, just because the impact that he brings to a group like HavoK, who are primarily known of assault rifle players, excluding like MRuiz and whatnot, who's been known for an SMG throughout most of his career, if not all of it. But Bxldyyy can definitely kind of bring a fresh kind of face to this team, not really known when it comes into the respawn community and any such. So with that being the case, him having a fantastic start, as MRuiz is trying to pick up things as well, they can definitely kind of increase what is their hardpoint game, which on paper, HavoK Esports should be known more as a Search and Destroy team, or maybe even the CTF team, which I think they could really rule out the CTF when it comes down to this series. Kind of not necessarily is ultimately going to go in favor of them, but I think between both of these teams, I'm definitely favoring HavoK when it comes down to that map number 3. So with all things considered, if you are the guys on Zodiac, you're pretty much lingering on hopefully winning the hard point. And while being down right now, your spirits have got to be at least impacted for the moment, as Holler is able to drop 2 up the rotation, but Jump responds with 2 of his own. Trying to do some work. Can he find the third? Give me that. And now the 4th lingering in his way. Gets the assistance there coming in from Jump, but doing the damage necessary when it comes into Docks Crane, locking things down, and quite frankly, they could have control, but keeping in mind, Jump has to wait on his teammate Apox to watch the flank. And I think he might be doing that. Bxldyyy is kind of a lone man back here. He can maybe provide a little bit of a distraction, pulls at the flamethrower, and unfortunately isn't able to use it. Back and forth gameplay so far as Nox Crane is getting ready to come to a close. 10 more seconds left onto this HP, and we're starting anew. But for the most part, very close, heavily contested game. For the most part, it's been HavoK who has had the lead. But little by little, we're seeing Zodiac get hard points. For the most part, when it's came down to Zodiac's hill control, it's really been in dominant fashion. We see them kind of rule out certain hills. They obviously rotate very well toward barrel building. And obviously in that last hard point as well, over on Nox Crane, they do the damage necessary and are now back in this game. And in fact, as well, have the lead. But this is where we saw on the first rotations, Bxldyyy really start to go off. Had a 6-0 start onto this particular hard point. And we'll see if he can try to give the guys from HavoK new life. Still having that flamethrower in the back pocket, but speaking of streaks, Jump coming from the skies with one. Taking out Bxldyyy, taking out MRuiz there too. And another lead change, as it will be the guys on Zodiac who are now in possession of that. And when we kind of talk about this roster, we see Baker along with Jump. These are the two original guys on this Zodiac lineup. Had, I believe it was Nox and Godlike, who were kind of other additions toward this group, kind of went their separate ways. And I think Nox kind of found himself on a group now. But this is a team who, for the early stages, I mean, it really has been kind of Jump and Baker's kind of squad to do work with. And they've obviously progressed on, picked up Apox for Dallas, and after losing Perplexed, they ended up picking up Tisch as well. And obviously a very talented squad when it comes down for the most part. And it looks like kind of getting back into the gameplay. HavoK trying to grab yet again another lead, and for the most part, on London Docks, Main Street can really be a money hill. I believe at Dallas, this is one of the hard points that was considered to be the money hill. And it looks like it will be the guys on Zodiac who are currently down, making that rotation. Holler getting through a big mid-map gunfight, isn't able to find it, so Baker yet again coming in big. When we talk about those rotations, who was kind of there doing the work early on before the hard point does get rotated? It has been Baker. Granted, currently -5, but you see him kind of pulling the unselfish play in an unorthodox position just toward that side stairs through middle. He'll end up dropping, but you see the amount of stacked players for Zodiac inside of the hard point. Tisch watching one side, his teammate Apox watching the other, getting flooded from either way as 3 players fall and Jump. The only guy who could have maybe done something is nowhere near that hard point. This is just such a difficult hill to really break through, because you got to keep in mind both entry points have pretty much a window head glitch. As I believe that Sticky comes in from Jump. I was talking about you have to really try to face off someone on that head glitch, but when you got the fantastic nade tossing ability, you can obviously change things up. Bxldyyy tries to hop in the hill. He's not successful. So back and forth we go. HavoK yet again in the driving seat. MRuiz with a good trigger discipline, able to take out one. Tries to enter in. Can he take out Baker? No, not able to happen. So 168 to 188. Literally back and forth gameplay. It's really been either team who kind of has dominated their particular hills. This one will go the way of Zodiac, but rotation now getting ready to come in inside the barrel building. You see Bxldyyy making the transition, having that flamethrower ready, but actually gets taken out by Jump with the streaks. But it's Kade who also has the flamethrower in the back lines. 2 flamethrowers, and we'll see if they can maybe try to grab the lead here. It looks like they're going to continue their dominance. Kade finding 2 with this. Nearly finds the 3rd, but Zodiac having some problems. Definitely, in this case, catching fire, but not in the accurate representation of it. Apox coming around the corner. Big fight to win. Can't do it. He drops, but Kade pulling in streaks as well. Back and forth game, but it is the guys currently from HavoK who are in possession of control. 3 go down, make it 4 go down, but it's Baker who actually takes out his own teammate. But they're pretty happy with an overall exchange. But Bxldyyy coming from the flank, they don't have spawns. So granted, in the long term of things, this isn't great because they can't grab the last 10 seconds. But for the most part, the rotation is all that matters. And Bxldyyy is going to be one of the first players here and has a sub at range. Is going to have to rely on those streaks to get something done. They at least earn callouts, but that's really about it. Apox takes out one. MRuiz gets traded. In the end, it's the guys on Zodiac who have the overall advantage. But you see MRuiz trying to challenge this one by himself. waits for his teammates, and here comes the team push. They check the right corners, can't take out one as 3 fall. Holler's the last person alive, and at least takes out one for good measure, but nothing really to come of it as Dox Crane, the boys from Zodiac, have to get someone inside of the hard point, and Jump is just trying to delay for as long as possible, hanging out here toward this side. Crane doing the work necessary. Player number 7 ends up dropping inside of fire as well. And we are going to see a lead change, a big advantage right now for the guys on Zodiac as they make the correct rotation, allow the players from HavoK to get that backside spawn. Granted, they gave away the last 10 seconds on barrel building, but it is a worthy exchange nonetheless. It's going to be Kade who hops in here for the last few seconds just to make things even more interesting, as it is a 3-point game. Hardpoint loading back onto Statue. We'll see who's here for the first few seconds. It's Bxldyyy, who isn't even trying to contest for points. He's going for the rush. He's got the flamethrower out, puts it away, and now is on the flank. No call-out being given. The player inside of fire doesn't even realize he's there. It's player number 4. He's not even calling out. Baker drops as well, and Bxldyyy is completely ruining their setup right now. He can single-handedly stop all 3 players. Drops one. Can he find the second? Not going to be there. Tie game at 2:31. Kade still having a flamethrower. And MRuiz trying to get some Sparty time, a second here or there, but it's the kills in quick succession that will decide how this first hardpoint goes, and Bxldyyy finds 2 big ones. Jump on the outside of the Statue is just trying to waste as much time as he possibly can, and Bxldyyy has no teammate support, but he's doing it all by himself. Bxldyyy absolutely exploding when it comes down to this hardpoint. Can the guys on HavoK at least contest this one toward the new hill? And yes, they will do so, as Zodiac only needs 6 more seconds when it comes down to Main Street, and MRuiz coming from the flank. Worst timing possible for Tisch, but he has the teammate to at least base some of the shots. Holler drops inside of the hill, and this should be the game, and it will be here at the last second. The boys from Zodiac close this one out 250 to 232, but talk about a back-and-forth game. And Zodiac will be your victors, but to no avail. It was HavoK who was leading the way through a lot of that game. And really, we talked about this play coming from Bxldyyy. This was one of the last hills on this particular hardpoint was in Statue. I mean, he was single-handedly breaking hardpoints. He finishes off 27 and 28, but you see that 4,000 overall score was just honestly a huge factor to be looking out for. And this is a map where he's really going to rain on quite a bit, is these up-close, fast-paced gunfights. I think this is a great pickup that we see the guys on HavoK have, despite the loss, of course, of map number 1, keeping that in mind now toward the S&D. But regardless, I mean, I really think that Bxldyyy could be a very standout player throughout this year. Granted, like I said, doesn't go positive, but we talk about the high pressure, very intense kind of moments. He kind of reminds me of like back in IW of like a Prestini, a guy who a lot of times is going to have like a 0.98, maybe even like a 1 KD, but he in quick succession like makes huge plays. It was kind of like an AW Nagafin to kind of translate into different players over time, but like he can kind of make streaks happen. Like we talked about the 6 and 0 at the start. He ends up going on like a 4 or 5 spree at the end. Like there were just moments that he really was breaking down hills, and to no avail. I mean, he just has a fantastic shot on him. I mean, he literally breaks the middle hard point by finding 3 kills along with an assist, with like hardly any teammate support whatsoever. So honestly, just fantastic performance from him. Despite HavoK not winning the first game, it was really Zodiac who was in prime control of winning a number of different hills. We talk about Dox Crane, that last rotation from barrel building where they kind of allow the guys from HavoK to spawn in backside of Coal Room. So with that in mind, of course, kind of keeping in consideration map number 2 here, will be on St. Marie-du-Mont. Zodiac, it's map number 2 here on St. Marie-du-Mont. For some search and destroy, it was the guys in Zodiac who locked down map number 1, winning it in a pretty close fashion, 250 to 232. But now focusing on some search and destroy, it's of course myself, Lando, here live in the UMG studio, joined alongside by Jen. Jen, you're able to kind of finally get in the game. No more disconnections. Things should be good, and we're ready to hop in for some S&D action now.
Wow. Yeah, that was a pretty close match at the beginning of that hard point. Only, what, like 18 points separating these two teams? And already starting off is HavoK with the team kill. They lose Holler really early, but that's already 3 down here for Zodiac. Baker is the last one left against now only 2 members of the other team. Has a quick round win here for HavoK on the search and destroy here on defense.
Yeah, and definitely be looking out for when it comes down to both of these teams. I think players to be looking out for, I think, for sure. For the guys on HavoK, definitely be looking out for Bxldyyy and I think Kade. I think our fair estimates, those are going to be the guys who, in different roles, both SMG and AR, who are going to have, I think, at times, more opportunity to shine. And I think for Zodiac, definitely be looking out for a guy named Tisch. I know Tisch has been playing for a long time. This is kind of like his biggest opportunity as far as like his competitive career. But these are just some guys to be looking out for. And on St. Marie-du-Mont, you're going to see pretty much standard play. Those early frags are going to be a problem. Hopefully, you've got some classes to deal with some of those tacticals and lethals, but yet again, pushes being made toward B, unsuccessful offenses, as it looks like MRuiz and Bxldyyy currently finding themselves in a 2 versus 4 scenario. MRuiz currently on the screen of him, despite the concaster showing incorrectly, but MRuiz trying to make his way on the flank is going to spot Tisch here, and using fantastic trigger discipline just to make sure the kill gets solidified. So now has somewhat of an element of surprise, but teammate falls, Bxldyyy now 1v3. And right around the corner is Apox. This is going to be a tall task for him to clutch this one out here, Jen.
Yeah, it's going to be all about patience here from Bxldyyy, but now reveals his position. Did hear the shots here, able to turn and burn there onto Apox. Now is the task to go against 2 players from the side of Zodiac, but HavoK are in the advantageous position. They got already 1 round win on the board, but let's see if Bxldyyy can close it out here with the 1v3. 20 seconds remain. Still has to collect the bomb. Spots one. Oof. Almost turns and burns on the second one. Almost clutching the 1v3, but now things are evened up. 1 apiece here with a defensive round win for both teams.
And I think as rounds do progress, as we see Bxldyyy have a very scary kind of moment there, takes that 2 out of the 3. But I think as the rounds progress, Zodiac can kind of have a sigh of relief after every round that they kind of secure, because as long as they can kind of shut down Bxldyyy for the most part, that's going to be a major element for them in this game. Of course, currently starting off 4-1 after 2 rounds of play, but generally I think if you are in Zodiac's position, every round that you kind of win, it's like, all right, here we go, we can kind of move on, because for the most part, I think this is HavoK's game to win. They're known, at least in prior, and I think with now the addition of Bxldyyy, they're known as a search and destroy team. So I think as rounds do progress, Zodiac can kind of focus on trying to obviously advance themselves. But first kill going toward the way of MRuiz, the guys on HavoK here, as Apox and co. on offense struggling. And we've seen back-to-back offensive rounds. Pushes being made toward B, and more enough than not, we end up seeing the frags go the way of the defensive team. So offensive teams have obviously been struggling up to this point. And you see Apox just around that corner, probably spawning maybe Kade in just a moment, but Baker and Apox both combining for 2, and just like that, a 2 versus 3, still changing of roles, but Bxldyyy right around the corner, just waiting for some shots and waiting for some teammate support, waiting for MRuiz to come from top red.
There's some really patient plays out of the side of Zodiac as well. HavoK started off with the first blood, and now they are at the disadvantage, but the bomb, and a huge disadvantage now that the bomb is down. Brett now has to win this gunfight here against Bxldyyy on this other side of the truck. Bxldyyy's being ambitious, but that's Baker providing some support here at the back. MRuiz versus 2 players, then gets shut down. Zodiac take their 2nd round win, and at least finally an offensive round win, as we got Brett here on your, I guess, final kill cam.
Yeah, and this is like kind of been the tale of the game. And really when it comes into St. Marie Dumont, I think we can kind of talk about this, Jen, is the fact of on this map, we're going to be seeing probably 9 out of 10 times teams forcing their way onto that B bomb site. But it's a matter of kind of being able to take those nades and trying to kind of brute force your way into that bomb site. However, this time, we see the guys on Zodiac really struggle. They end up dropping 2 players kind of off the break. They kind of some way find themselves into that bomb site. But if you aren't the guys on HavoK in that situation, you can't be giving away defensive rounds, especially when you already have the man advantage. So kind of sloppy plays when it comes down to things, but now looking on, it will be the boys from HavoK on the offense, as they should have pretty much control over this B bomb site, keeping in mind the flank that could be coming in from Tisch does kind of challenge his way through what look like arches, but isn't able to make anything come about, as the sequence of kills should be going down here very shortly, as 3 players just around that corner. Holler eliminates 1, and still has a few left to work with, but 1 player getting up close and personal does get taken out. That's going to be Apox. 2 versus 2 now, and MRuiz holding on to the corner. Similar position, MRuiz and Bxldyyy, last 2 alive. And Bxldyyy with that bomb could be making his way toward the bomb site, coming around the corner. Doesn't actually take out Jump. A huge kill coming in from Jump, nearly a bullet away from dying, has streaks to work with. Continuing on for that for the rest of this match, but Bxldyyy a 1 versus 2 bomb in his hands, and I mean, at this point, Jen, it's really kind of an awkward scenario for him because they could be coming in at any direction.
Yeah, this is an awkward scenario. HavoK only sent 2 players in to the B-bomb area, and sort of trades going back and forth. You saw sort of an important kill from Apox, who kind of dove in, but at least got the trade at the end. But Bxldyyy has another tough task of 1v2. Gets the kill there on to Brett. Tisch around the corner, ring around the rosy. Who's going to win? Goes for the drop shot, but loses that one. Bxldyyy finally gets the clutch that he needs, evening up 1 apiece there for HavoK.
And this is a similar situation, right? With this guy's in 1v2, 1v3 situations, and he just making it look as if he is the one who's actually in the advantage. Like, he's making it seem as if the guys who have the man count, of course, above him are the ones who are struggling. Like, he literally makes that 1 versus 2 look so easy. And he's kind of the one who's controlling the pace, I think it's fair to say, which is very scary. And I think the guys on Zodiac are fully aware who they're facing off against. But we nearly see a 1 versus 3 completion in one of the first rounds, and we see an easy 1 versus 2, probably the easiest one he's going to have for the day. Bxldyyy dominating when it comes down to this S&D after just 4 rounds of play, now sitting at 6-2. As keeping in mind, though, streaks on the opposite end could be earned for the guys on Zodiac. I think we saw at least one player close to those, and I believe that is going to be Jump. Yes, knocking those forward. As this isn't Jump on your current screen. I think we have a lot of Concaster glitch being shown there. But regardless, Jump pulling out the first frag as MRuiz quickly is left alone as a 1 versus 3 scenario. Bomb down on B. As, like I said, awkward place, as this is going to be difficult for him to retake.
Very successful offensive round win there for Zodiac. Getting the bomb down and having a 3v1 scenario, I apologize, is pretty favorable. As usually, it's pretty back and forth over at the B bomb site. It takes a lot of time to be patient, throw your players in, get the trades that you need. But heading into now the 6th round of this S&D, Zodiac will have the advantage, but now they will be on the defense. But let's take a look at how this offense of HavoK are going to set up here. Bxldyyy 7-3, pretty an impressive score. And sort of to say the opposite, Tisch 0-5, not doing the best, but surprisingly, Zodiac are still in the round advantage, but this is an interesting push. Holler now with the bomb here with Bxldyyy, and they're heading towards A, and they're going to bait over at B. So we'll see if Zodiac's going to fall for it.
We'll see how they can try to weather the storm here as Tisch just find the first kill. Streaks coming in. Keeping in mind, players with Mountain are not going to be spotted on that map. So Streaks maybe gain a player, 1 player knowledge, but regardless, keeping in mind Bxldyyy's position right now, he's going to be at a back position. They're not going to be expecting him at this current point of view, and he knows exactly that. 3 players combining quick as Baker now finding themselves in a 1 versus 3. A fantastic round played from HavoK. They put the bomb down. Streaks get put into use, but to no avail, learn nothing. And at that, they keep 3 players alive. Like I said, they plant the bomb down, they weather through a streak, and they now level things up at 3-3.
Wow, that was, like I said before, very successful offense, baiting over at B, getting the bomb planted, and a 4 versus 4 over at A. Tisch also breaking the 0-5 that arrested him earlier, getting a kill. 1-6 now, as like you said, evened up 3-3 apiece, and that was a very successful bait over at A. But now Zodiac will be aware of that, and we'll keep aware of that next time, as now they're on the offense, giving that bomb here to Brett. It's going to be a showdown here at B again.
It definitely seems that the guys at Zodiac are preferring this B bomb site as per usual, but I was curious when it kind of came into this series, especially on this particular map of St. Marie, which one is going to be kind of making the interesting play. As right now you see 2 players on the top left of your minimap making the flank around. Player number 6 and player number 7, MRuiz and Bxldyyy. Not sure if they spot Baker, probably not. But if they make a flank, if they catch great timing, they could easily ruin this entire push with 2 players already, or 1 player already dropping for their team. A frag could be made a lot. It looks like they do not spot Baker. So an immediate 2 versus 4. However, it is Bxldyyy and Holler trying to turn the tide of this match. Big headshot coming in from Baker. As now Holler left all alone. The flank does some damage, but has a lot more work to do. 2 players alive. Tisch on the bomb. As this should be Zodiac's round to lose. As yes, Holler, not enough time to go for the defuse of that bomb. Has another player lingering in his way, which will be Baker, and they will stay alive. But still, smart play coming in from the guys on HavoK, trying to make that, from the guys on, for the guys on HavoK. They try to make that 2-man flank around, but it's Baker who's kind of holding underneath arches, who's able to spot MRuiz. They make somewhat of a contention, but for the most part, due to kind of forcing that flank around, they immediately open that bomb site, which every time Zodiac we've already seen. If you give them a free B bomb site, they're going to take it every single time. So in that flank, it obviously causes a little bit of an awkward moment where that bomb site is completely free. They kind of reveal their hands, and the end of that one being open. It's the guys on Zodiac who take full form of it.
Now we're going to see these players here from HavoK infiltrate B again, giving that bomb here to Holler. Was able to get the plant most likely down here in a 4 versus 4. Not looking too hot here for HavoK. They're able to have that mid-map control, but we're going to have to take a look at this flank here from Bxldyyy. He's trying to go after Baker on this other side of this truck, and now Zodiac have to be wary of this player into the backline. So going to decide if they want to deal here with Bxldyyy in the back, or if they want to focus here on closing in on the objective. So no kills have gone down back and forth, so this is clearly giving the advantage here to the offense. Trades go back and forth. MRuiz now the only one left here for the offense.
And he could make a play happen, but no, was only able to drop 1. But I got to say, as we will see the guys on Zodiac find their 5th round I really like that play coming in from Bxldyyy on the flank because his entire point of view, his entire game plan in that last round is just to play distraction. He's trying to kind of bait the guys from Zodiac away from the objective, keeping them in mind. I believe he might even fire just like a few excess shots. He probably fires a few bullets that he knows he's not going to win a gunfight, but as long as he can distract, that's going to keep the enemy away from their mind on the objective, the mind to get that diffused forward. So with that in mind, a smart play from him, but his teammates can't stay up. And now we see 5 rounds to 3, the lead for Zodiac. Of course, they already took map number 1. They're now 1 round away here in Search and Destroy from closing this one out in a 2-0 fashion, one that I thought would at least be a lot closer. But regardless, we'll see if HavoK can get something going as first kill coming in from MRuiz.
Brett just tried to jump onto the bomb, and that's what he's been doing time and time again, jumping on the bomb, planting it right away. But HavoK, punish him for it. MRuiz is going to be in this corner. Let's take a look at if he can get this kill onto Tisch. Does Tisch even know he's there? This should be a free kill. Apox there is going to be there for the trade, and he is. So MRuiz gets at least a trade, leaving Kade all by himself in a 2 versus 1. But Mike should be able to get the free bomb plant as long as Baker is there by his side. Kade goes to infiltrate. Can he get the kill? Gets Apox down, but it's Baker versus Kade.
Indeed, killing on perspective of Kade right now, despite the Concaster. Now on with Baker. We'll see who can try to get the advantage. And it looks like Baker will drop, and it will be a defuse coming in from Kade, staying alive. The 1 versus 2 to at least force a round number 10 will happen for the guys on HavoK. Of course, keeping on, we do apologize for the Concaster issues whenever, you know, the Concaster on our end and obviously Jen's Concaster, when we switch players, it does kind of mess up the bottom left scorecard, so we do apologize for that. Kind of messes things up for production, but regardless, keeping in mind it is the guys on HavoK who do force a round 10 as they will be on offense. We have seen them make a few A pushes, and keeping that in mind, you see player number 2 on defense, Tisch from Zodiac, being aware of such, trying to clear out that bomb site to make sure that they don't have a sneaky push be made. But it looks like HavoK's not too content with this bomb site being open. They want to go for a full flank. They're not happy with having the site be open. They want to kind of play spoil as Kade. Easy shot onto 1. Can't find the second, though. Apox finds a big kill. Bxldyyy is there for the trade, but regardless, it makes things now to a 1-man advantage right now for the guys on HavoK. And while they do make that push forward, they don't really get any control. They don't get the bomb plant down and jump, fully aware of such, and top red is going to challenge on that bomb. And yes, he actually takes out Holler. MRuiz in this position isn't watching over his objective man, and due to that happening, he loses a player. They don't have any control over the site as far as getting it down. And now we find ourselves at a 2 versus 2. Player number 2, Tisch in the back lines, and Jump sitting instead of red. They have fantastic positioning on this site right now here, Jen.
2v2, and this round could be deciding the win here for Zodiac. Remember, they are up 1-0 in the series after the win on the hard point. But did they close it out here? Yes, they did. 6-4. HavoK were trying the strategy of pushing all the way through B, deciding to disengage, go back to B. The bomb plant almost went through, but not enough backup from the rest of his teammates. The bomb planter goes down, and then a subsequent win here for Zodiac on not only the hard point by about 18 points, by 2 rounds here on S&D, as they will move forward here into the bracket.
Yeah, and in that last round, I think we can kind of talk about on St. Marie Dumont. I mean, a few of the things that really kind of held the guys from HavoK back. I think when it kind of comes down to that last round there on offense for the guys on HavoK, it was that we saw them make an initial push. It was a smart play for them, I think it's fair to say, to kind of rush through B. Preferably, I'm a bigger fan of teams kind of get that objective down, then kind of force their way out, but they try to make an interesting play. They catch one player off guard. I think Apox ends up getting a trade in the end, so it kind of works out for the guys on Zodiac to make it a little bit more easier for them. But we find ourselves in a 2 versus 2. We see MRuiz on one side is checking top red, but I think it was either Baker or John, I want to say it was Baker, who easily takes out the person who's on the bomb, which is Holler. Like, the main objective for MRuiz in the position that he's in is to watch over his bomb planter, to watch over his objective man. And in doing that, he kind of leaves him out in the open and says, okay, I got your flank. Don't even worry about anyone kind of challenging you except if it's from the flank. Holler, being aware of such, gets challenged through top red. He ends up falling. So to me, a lot of that round really relies on MRuiz's play. Granted, of course, all the rounds prior to that one obviously played out the way that they did. But keeping in mind, maybe it was a few plays like that. Maybe not watching cover, or maybe not having the exact communication or the chemistry that really worked out in that particular game kind of set the guys on HavoK back, which to me isn't to be expected when it comes down to especially 3 guys who have played with each other in the past. Of course, Kade and MRuiz, who played on Enigma 6, Onslaught prior to that one for the longest time. But Bxldyyy, I've got to say, I'm very impressed with this guy's performance. I'm not sure about your opinion, Jen. I know only we're able to really hardcore spectate the S&D, but he played very sound when it came down to the hard point. Only went -1, and you know, for the most part, had some really highlight plays and then a hard point, and then obviously dominated early in the S&D, making some 1v2, near 1 versus 3 happen for the team. Obviously lose that one 6 runs to 4, but I'm very impressed with this guy's play. Every time that I watch him in tournaments, the last 2 have been obviously with HavoK now, as this one does come to a close for them. He has really impressed me, not just in the S&D, but honestly in the hard points as well. He's been really kind of lining things up, and I think has been the main slayer that a group like HavoK needs. This group of kind of players hasn't really been known as the top slayers. We talked about Enigma 6, haven't really been known for being dominant slayers, but their teamwork has really been there. I think now with the last 2 titles being heavily slay driven, I think a guy like Bxldyyy only complements what should be their overall game style, which is a lot of the time their chemistry.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Bxldyyy had a really impressive play, and a lot of time he got left in these 1v3, so that's probably why he had a very high stat line. Yeah. So he was like 7-3 like mid-game. So a lot of times he got left in these 1v3s. Was so close to clutching that 1v3 the one time. I think he ended up getting a 1v2 later on. But even with Zodiac, I think they're better at playing the number advantage or even a number disadvantage. And a lot of time they start 3v4 because Tisch started that game 0-5. And they were still in the advantage even though that player had not gotten a single kill. And it's not like he was playing the objective either. He wasn't the bomb carrier. So they're able to play a lot of these 3v4 situations very smartly. And while Bxldyyy was left a lot of the time in these 1v3s. So although it was 6-4, pretty close game, and HavoK kind of choked that other round that could have brought them into round 11, Zodiac, I think, have a better synergy, even though they played with a player down a lot.
Indeed, I think it's a really good point to bring up. Zodiac, who constantly was kind of on the opposite end of not having those first bloods, definitely kind of played the numbers well. And once they had that, it was like almost kind of like a vice script that they were going to win that one nearly every single time. So with that in mind, it is Zodiac who does progress out of this very kind of tightly contested fight in both map number 1 and map number 2, and an overall 2-0 advantage. But like I said, we've got a number of fantastic teams tonight playing in this tournament.